Thank you for joining us on this glorious day. I just want to thank members of the media for being here. There are some locally elected officials who eagerly endorse the candidacy of Senator Joe Biden to be our next president of the United States. I'd like to introduce them at this time. Senator Jim Timilty, Representative Joe Driscoll, Representative Garret Bradley, Representative Paul Kajowski, Boston City Councilor John Tobin, Boston City Councilor Bill Linehan, and former state representatives Jim Collins and former state representative Tom Vallow. For those of you who have had the opportunity to read Senator Biden's book, Promises to Keep, you recall in chapter 20, the chapter was entitled with a one-word question, and that was why. And Mrs. Biden answers that question. Why would Senator Biden run for the presidency of the United States? And the answer is quite simple. Because he is the best candidate to unite this country. The elected officials you see assembled alongside Senator Biden agree wholeheartedly with Mrs. Biden. You know, we tend to, in this country, describe candidates as top-tier and second-tier candidates. But we urge all the citizens of Massachusetts, and indeed across the country, to take a good, long look at all the candidates for president. And I think that the fair and wise American people that we know that they are will come away with one candidate who has the expertise, the experience, and the education to be our next president. And Joe Biden will emerge in all 50 states, we hope and we expect, not only as a top-tier candidate, but the best candidate to be the 44th president of the United States. If you look at Joe Biden's experience, I think it's fair to say that he is uniquely qualified and stands head and shoulders above the rest on issues of foreign affairs. He's the only candidate in our minds that has a responsible and sensible approach on the Iraqi question. To withdraw our troops, our women and men in our armed services home safely, and to implement and give hope to a form of government in Iraq that is based upon a federalist form of government with semi-autonomous regional forms of government that respects the religious and ethnic diversities of the people of that region of the world. A country and system that's founded upon a system much like our own here in America more than 230 years ago. One person can be credited for standing up with the likes of Slobodan Milosevic when he was perpetrating acts, malicious, hateful acts of genocide, Kosovo, and Bosnia. One person can be credited with convincing President Clinton for taking action and bringing Milosevic to justice, and that's Senator Joe Biden. The days leading up to the tragic events of September 11th, one person was advising the Bush administration that the next act of terrorism would less likely come through a nuclear attack than through the, quote, belly of an airplane. He was advising the National Press Corps just the day before those horrific acts. This is the type of vision and leadership I think the American people needs to lead us in this early part of the 21st century. On a more domestic level, I can speak personally how grateful I am as a family member related to a rape victim. I am so very grateful for Senator Biden's leadership in the Violence Against the Women Act. In 1992, when I first ran for office, domestic violence resulted in a woman murdered here in Massachusetts due to domestic violence once every 8 days. Because of the leadership of Joe Biden nationally, working with the several states, the incidence of rape has been reduced by 60% nationwide. The incidence of domestic violence has been cut in half. On behalf of my family, I thank Senator Joe Biden for his leadership. Many of us support his fiscal responsibility. As the former chairman of the Ways and Means, I can attest to how our budgets are not just ledgers, but more a reflection of who we are as a people. They are a continuing autobiography of the people of Massachusetts, and indeed, in the larger sense, the people of this country on the national level. Joe Biden, many of the members here support his redirection of some of the largest tax cuts that are targeted toward the wealthiest of citizens across this country, so that that money can be redirected toward the lower and middle classes. Those families across America, and indeed here in Massachusetts, struggling to afford the high prices of an education, early education, and to redirect some of those monies toward renewable energy efforts and everything we've been talking about here on Beacon Hill. But the real reason all of us should be supporting Joe Biden, in addition to the fact that he's the most qualified, in addition to the fact that he has the most expertise and experience, Joe Biden is a good and decent person that we put our heads on our pillows nationwide more than a year from now. I think the person that will give us the most comfort, the most solace in leading this nation and healing this nation and uniting this nation is Senator Joe Biden. So I thank him from the bottom of my heart for having the courage to run for President of the United States. And I'd like to introduce some of the members that have been locally elected to say a few words on his behalf, and then we'll introduce Senator Biden. He'll say some remarks, and then we'll open up for questions.